With the PS5 on the horizon, and very likely there will not be any more games exclusive to the PS4, I think it is a great time to count down the best PS4 exclusives. Because let's be real, they had a great lineup this generation. Now, I am doing exclusives. No games that originally came out exclusive to the PS4, but later came to other consoles, whether it be the Xbox One, the Switch, PC, whatever. So I'm not including Horizon Zero Dawn, and I'm not including Death Stranding, since those came to PC. I'm also not going to include Persona 5, because that also came to the PS3. And I'm not including Persona 5 Royal, because that would be too easy. Also, no just simple remasters or collections or anything, so no Last of Us Remastered or Uncharted the Nathan Drake collection. You can possibly argue that most of these games, by the time the PS5 comes out, they will be on there with backwards compatibility or the PS Plus collection or whatever, but as of right now, when I'm recording this, if you can only play the game through the PS4 and no other way, they are eligible for this list. Anyways, let's get started, but before we do that, you know what to do. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to turn notifications, and leave a comment. You'll be a loyal subscriber.
I wanted to give to you, the last part of your notes here, the significance spiritually of the number 10.
Sony seemed to like remakes and franchise revivals this generation on the PS4, and Ratchet Clank is one remake that turned out really good. Ratchet Clank on PS4 is probably more of a reimagining than anything else, but it's still a very fun time as it looks and plays very well. It includes numerous items that weren't in the original Ratchet Clank games, but were in later ones, and also adds new weapons like the Pixelizer, which everyone seems to love. The new animations are also very nice, and the game looks gorgeous as well. Combine that with the soundtrack and you got one hell of a Ratchet & Clank game. So cannot wait for Rift Apart. That shows what next gen's gonna be like. All those particle effects, yeah, I'm ready. Definitely do check this one out though. Let's take a game and take everything great from a bunch of slasher horror movies, whether it's stuff like stupid decision making that the characters make, you know, the usual settings like a dark, grimy atmosphere, and all the innuendos. You get Until Dawn, and it is really fucking good. This is a true horror experience with genuine jump scares and scary settings. The gameplay is pretty nice too, as it just feels very smooth, and the quick time events even add to the suspense and worry that something will happen if you don't pull off the quick time event right. Not to mention it also has a really good story that you do want to follow, and you do want to make decisions. There's decisions you make, and you want to make the right one. All this makes Until Dawn a fantastic horror game and a great exclusive for the PS4.
So I'm going to be giving this flavor 8.5 out of 10 scoops.
Yakuza has been very popular on the PS4 and by extension this generation, and one of those games make this list. Which one though? Well, it happens to be the one without Yakuza in the name. I'm of course talking about Judgment. What is Judgment? You're probably wondering, especially since it sort of seemed to go under the radar. Well, Judgment is a Yakuza game that you don't even really need to play Yakuza for in order to understand or play this, and that's really cool. In Judgment, you're playing as a lawyer trying to track down a potential serial killer in a giant virtual city. Here's the catch though, there are many other things you can do. Many side quests, unlockable minigames, VR races, and more add a lot to the game. Not to mention the combat in Judgment is really top notch, and you got one hell of a game that more people probably should have played, yeah.
$36.
Very close, but that's not it. Let's go to Gary the Retard. What number between 2 and 4?
I was conflicted on whether or not I should include the Shadow of the Colossus remake on this list, or not, but I think I should, and I will, at number 7. While the original Shadow of the Colossus is considered a classic in many regards, and rightfully so, certain aspects have certainly not aged well, whether it be certain visual animations or some of the controls, especially jump. The PS4 remake fixed those issues, as good old Blue Point Games rebuilt this game from the ground up, and they made a fantastic game even fantastic-er. Yeah, that's a word. While Shadow of the Colossus Remake preserves mostly everything the original PS2 game did, it's mostly stuff that didn't need to be changed. Shadow of the Colossus is definitely one of the best remakes out there, as it remakes everything it needs to and makes a near-perfect game even nearer perfect. Some stuff, it preserved that didn't age totally well, but other than that, it's a perfect remake.
Okay, Mrs. Puff, what's my final score? 6.
This goes for more than just video games, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to talk about video games. There aren't too many game series that should go beyond a trilogy. Maybe it's just a perfect trilogy and a 4th entry will kind of ruin a perfect package. However, there are some very notable exceptions, and one definitely being Uncharted, with Uncharted 4: A Thief's End, as it might even be the best Uncharted game. Uncharted 4: A Thief's End brings a story and world that is pretty incredible, and also delivers a combat system that just does nothing but improves upon just about all the other Uncharted games. The story of A Thief's End might be one of the best one of all the games, as it finishes up the story of Nathan Drake very well. Naughty Dog might seem to get some flack these days, but games like this shows why they know how to make fantastic games. Also, you get to play Crash. Playable Easter egg. The game feels nice, the game looks nice. So many aspects about the game are very likable, and that's why it makes the list.
Oh, chills. Literal chills.
It was number 5. Number 5 is my brother.
Oh my god, I forgot about it.
Oh shit, now this is how you remake a classic. I'm of course talking about the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now, I like to look at this as more of the first quarter of the original Final Fantasy VII made with actual modern cutscenes, and the game still being an RPG but also feeling like an action-adventure title. And that's not a bad thing at all. It works very well. The combat feels nice, and the game looks fantastic. Not to mention, without spoiling anything, I feel like I am one of the only few people who didn't mind the twist the ending went with. Just exploring the world, fighting enemies, fighting bosses, including a few new bosses, and you even fucking fight the Hell House. And some new bosses weren't even included in the original game. And did I mention that the game looks great? I liked just about every aspect of this game. There are a few things that pissed me off, and I think it's a great remake that anyone can and should play. Not only if you're a fan of the original. Anyone can play this one.
Seven, 5.
So we all know the meme is whenever something is hard, they are immediately compared to Dark Souls. However, there's a reason they are not compared to Bloodborne. Bloodborne is arguably the best Soulsborne game made by FromSoft, and may also be their toughest. Wait, I swear I said literally the exact same thing about Sekiro a while back. I guess From Software likes to outdo themselves. Bloodborne is a brutal yet very fair challenge to the player, and feels all the more rewarding when you succeed. Bloodborne also takes the already difficult gameplay formula of the other Souls games and adjusts it by making it faster, requiring more precision. Not to mention, the atmosphere is both scary and very detailed, and those bosses, in typical Souls fashion, are going to kick your ass. There is a reason the Souls game later got referred to as the Soulsborne games. Sucker Punch started the PS4 with Infamous and then ended it with possibly their best game yet, and so far my personal favorite game of 2020, and that is Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima is one hell of a fun game, with a great story, with so much replay value as well, and side quests that'll likely keep you busy with this game and keep you playing it for a very long time. The combat is also very smooth, and the little standoffs are a nice touch to the game. There are also different stances that you can use in the game that change up your combat style, and some come more into use when fighting certain enemies. That didn't sound like it made much sense. What I mean, though, is, for example, there is a stance for swordsman enemies, a stance for shieldsman, a stance for spearsman, and so on. The story also takes many twists and turns along the way, some you probably don't even see coming, and the ending comes with a choice that you as the player make and creates two separate endings, and because of that, you'll want to see the other ending, so you'll want to play the game again. And it's a game you'll want to play again, trust me. There is a lot to love in Ghost of Tsushima.
What kind of pencil do we take again?
Number 2. Take a number 2.
Looks like you took a big number 2.
Some superhero games could be hit or miss. However, one superhero who seems to have a very good track record when it comes to video games is Spider-Man, and that is further proven with Spider-Man on the PS4. We'll just call it Spider-Man for this video. My god, was this a game that I, and I'm sure many of you, dove hours into, and rightfully so, without regrets. The atmosphere of New York City is fantastic looking, and the combat is fucking amazing, and probably heard this so many times, but it does remind me of the Batman Arkham games, and that's a good thing. Also, web slinging around New York City has never been any more fun. Not to mention the story, as it's almost like a Marvel movie, but put into a video game form, which also throws in boss fights, which are a lot of fun. I mean, seriously, there are certain boss fights where you fight two bosses at once. That is awesome. And difficult, but still awesome. There are also many unlockable costumes that add to the encouragement to complete the game, and you got a contender for possibly the best superhero game, or at least Marvel game. One of the best superhero games ever made. Now before we get into number 1, let's look at some honorable mentions. And just so you know, there's quite a lot of them this time. I am not the biggest fan of the older God of War games, mainly because of the protagonist Kratos sort of just seemed like a raging monster and the gameplay didn't seem too interesting. However, God of War, as you may know, got a soft reboot on the PS4 and makes Kratos seem more human, and also the game fucking rules. Where do I begin with God of War? I personally think just about, like really just about every single aspect of this game is outstanding. The gameplay, the combat, the weapons, the visuals, the story, the performances, the gameplay, the humanization of Kratos and giving him a son, which adds a new side of Kratos we haven't seen before. God of War with a linear style and RPG elements sounded worrying at first, but boy did it work. All that and more puts God of War as the #1 best PS4 exclusive. Yup, that is my list of the best PS4 exclusives. Now obviously we're gonna have different lists. I know I made some interesting picks here, but I want to know what you guys think. Let me know your top 10, or if you can't think of 10, 5, or whatever number you can think of. And yeah, let me know down below. Be sure to like this video, come subscribe, and also shout out to my boy ML. He got this top 10 right in the Discord. You want a shout out? Join the MeCast Discord down below, and there's a channel for guessing a video correct and getting a shout out for it. Anyways, see you guys.